All right, welcome back to CM's Garage. 2 weeks ago, we picked up this tractor. If you watched my rescue video, the rear wheels were stuck. I had to get this old rusty shifter out. It's completely rusted. We finally got it unlocked and it is now free. So we got it parked here in the garage. We got it cleaned up a little bit. First, in my second video where we started the work on it, we got the clutch unstuck because that was completely frozen. We rebuilt the carb, so if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch that one. But for this video, we've got power. We're gonna see if we can get it turned over. We'll end up testing our compression, and we're gonna go ahead and rebuild the magneto and see if it runs. This tractor's been sitting for probably around 30 years is my guess. It's a 1945. So let's see, will it run? All right, let's go ahead and drain the motor oil. See what the heck comes out of here. All right, here we go. What's it gonna look like? Who knows? When the last time this thing had an oil change? Get you guys in there. Oh, not bad. That looks really clean. Really clean. No water. Well, that's a good sign. That oil looks really good, actually. The oil might have been changed prior to it being parked. I'm gonna go ahead and add the Rotella 15W40 heavy duty engine oil. This is 4 quarts. I'll have to get another quart. I think the thing, what I read in the manual, it holds 5 quarts. All right, so we went ahead and threw a 12-volt battery up here. I've got a grounding cable to a clean ground. We've got our positive hooked directly to the battery. We're gonna throw that on and we're gonna bump the starter and see if the engine turns over. Oh, I also made sure, because the shifter's not in, that it's in neutral, but without the shifter, there's a chance it could pop into gear. So I'm gonna have a ratchet strap pulling the clutch down, so that way, even if it did pop into gear, the clutch will be depressed. So that'll prevent that from happening. Don't wanna get run over. Let's see. Oh yeah, turns over really well. Turns over. All right, well that's great. Got the power hooked to the battery. It turns over really good, really strong. So next is just getting that magneto rebuilt, getting some fuel in the tank, getting that fuel line hooked up, and we should be ready to start this tractor. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and replace this sediment bowl. The gasket was completely shot in here. It's leaking from the valve. So I figured we'd just go ahead and replace it. I picked up a new one for about 40 bucks at Tractor Supply, direct replacement, and then we'll get that fuel line put back in here. Oh jeez, gas leaking everywhere. We spilled a little gas, that's all right. Turn on this thing. All right, so we got it tight, and it is in the perfect position to get the fuel line hooked back up. Because this tank is full of rust, I went ahead and I cut this copper line. Didn't really want to cut it. I don't think it's original anyway. And we're gonna run a rubber line in between the two copper lines with a filter. And then that way, as the junk moves out of the tank, it will catch that. Don't need to clog it up that carb I just cleaned. Now we're gonna get the copper line tightened down on the carb side, and then we'll fit our rubber line. Cool. We have a new oil filter here, Fleet Guard, and also a new seal to go in. So we'll get that placed, and we'll get the cover on. All right, let's place the oil filter cap back on here. When I was cranking the engine over, I noticed that oil was going up to the oil filter, so that tells me that the oil pump is working, so that's a good thing. Now let's get the spark plugs in. All right, so we're starting to rebuild this magneto. Earlier, I gapped these points at, per the book, 0.013. So I've got that set. Now we've got our new coil. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but there's a wire in here that and also the coil. So we have to line up the coil wire with this connector here that runs from the points, and then the runs through both of those wires. All right, so we've got our magneto put back together mostly, working on getting these new gaskets in, but I've got a new wire in the front. We've got the new coil on, the condenser in there, and now we're doing the gasket set, a new cap, and then the new distributor cap and wires. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put our magneto on. So we're gonna line up the notch here with the notch in the block. Put our bolt in. All right, we forgot the gasket, so let's go ahead and try this again. I guess this thing is made to turn to adjust the timing. But we're gonna go ahead and just guess, and we'll see how it runs. All right, let's go ahead and put our rotor on. And it should point to number 1, because I've got this at number 1. But from my understanding, number 1 should be pointing out this direction. So I might have an issue. All right, so Just have to figure it out. Got my different lengths here. I basically just cut these off the length of the old spark plugs, so probably the longest one be number 1 and 4. All right, we got number 1 on. Now the firing order is counterclockwise, so this would be, the firing order is 1 3 4 2. So this would be 1 3. So the next one's 3. All right, there you go. We got all the spark plugs hooked up. We got this tester light. I'm gonna test it on our go-kart engine over there just to make sure this is working. Then I'll know for a fact if it's not flashing, then we've actually got a good light since I haven't used it before. Okay, so I know for a fact that this tester light is working. I just tested it on our go-kart. So let's pull the number 1 wire off. Put that in there. Hook up our number 1. And we're gonna bump the starter like we did earlier. And we'll know if we got good spark. Now, timing is a whole nother story. Let's see. All right, so we got our economy never start battery here. Battery with the go handle, like Derek always says. And we're gonna hook up our cables. We'll hit the starter and see what happens. Watch for that light. All right, here we go. Battery hooked up, let's bump the starter. Yep, we have spark. Did you see it? All right, so you guys saw it. We have good spark, great news. So my magneto rebuild was successful. So now let's go ahead and get some fuel in the tank and see what it does. I also found a new shifter on eBay. They said it worked great and I've got it installed and it does. So first, second, third, fourth, reverse, and neutral. Perfect. This thing's gonna be driving before you know it. All right, so we're gonna remove the air cleaner because it's full of rust and probably debris and dirt, and I don't want to get sucked into the carb when we go to start it. So pull this off. All right, we're gonna turn our fuel valve on. Watch that bowl fill up. And then we'll see if we get gas down in the filter. There it goes. All right, so we've got everything ready to go on the tractor. Let's try and start it up. We've got fuel in the tank, magneto's good, carb has been cleaned. We know we have spark. Here we go. Got gas in the carb. Give it a little juice.
Yep.
Okay, ready? Is it smoking? We'll get these gas cans out of here. Here we go. Clear prop. Oh, it's doing something now. All right, so it doesn't seem to be starting. So we're getting fuel. I've even tried the carb cleaner, starter fluid. We're getting spark. I feel like if the timing was off, it would at least fire some. We're not getting anything. Right now, I've tested the compression. I've got 90 PSI in all 4 cylinders, which from what I've read is pretty good. So now we're going to adjusting the valves to 0.014 to see. There definitely was quite a gap there, so I think they were definitely out of adjustment. I don't really see why that would prevent it from running, just not running as well. So we'll see, we'll try it. Batteries hooked up. Ready? Clear prop. It's getting closer.
Oh.
Let's try it. Okay, it's the timing. All right. Ready? Woo! You get that?
Yeah.
For a second, so. Running for a second. It's not getting gas. Clear prop. Ooh. Ooh. Clear prop. All right, so the tractor runs. Super excited. We ran into a few snags. I had the carb rebuilt in that second video. We rebuilt the mag in this video, but the initial problem was the timing. So I messed with the timing gear and I turned it back, and that seemed to change it. We were cranking and cranking on it. And then if you come around here, I ran into an issue with the carb because this manifold is a single part intake exhaust. Because there was so much crap in here, I think because it was blowing out the exhaust when I was cranking it, it was blowing a bunch of stuff down into the carb. So I ended up pulling the carburetor off and we cleaned that out. And then we went and also we adjusted the valve adjustment to 0.014. So the valves were adjusted, carb cleaned, and with that timing adjusted, it fired right off. There you go. All right, guys, well, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. There will be plenty more on this tractor, I promise. The next thing we're gonna do is try to get it driving. I've got these tires in the front that obviously need replaced. So we gotta do that first. That'll probably be our next thing. And then just kind of just getting the engine tuned up. And it runs, but we'll probably need to mess with the timing a little more. Make sure it's idling right. We didn't really mess with the idle too much. But yeah, and then once we get that, we'll throw her in gear and take her out in the field here. Thank you guys. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe, like, and share. I appreciate it.